Theresa May gave an emotional resignation speech this week, saying that being Prime Minister had been the honour of her life. And we can speak to someone who perhaps knows Mrs May more than most, the former Deputy Prime Minister and university friend of the Prime Minister, Damian Green. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. As someone who's a friend of Theresa May, how was it watching that speech that she gave when she announced her resignation?
No, it was very sad that, as she said, this was a huge honour to be Prime Minister, and she regarded that. I think everyone has commented on her sense of duty, which was there literally to the end, and we saw it was a fairly emotional end to that speech, and any decent person would have thought that's very sad.
Did she speak to you before she made up her mind?
No, I haven't spoken to her in the last few days, but I think to some extent it became inevitable that the deal as devised wasn't going to go through Parliament. So her Prime Ministership had reached the end of the road. How
do you think she will be feeling now? I mean, obviously she was saying how it was the honour of her life. She was talking about the things that she felt she'd achieved in office. It felt to me, watching it, that there was perhaps a tinge of regret that she hadn't had enough opportunity to focus on some of her domestic agenda.
I think that's right, and I share that feeling that we all remember the speech she made when she went into Downing Street, the attack on the burning injustices. It felt like a different type of conservatism, one that was reaching out, if you like, beyond the Conservative core vote, beyond the heartlands to the whole country. And that was a very attractive vision. And because Brexit came to dominate everything, she wasn't able to make anything like enough progress on any of those things that she really cared about.
How do you think she'll be remembered?
I think it's too early to say. I think, to some extent, it depends on the next leader, because if we can get Brexit through and then move on to a new modern agenda that looks to the future, then it will be seen as a tough period that maybe we want to go through. So in an odd way, the success of the next leader will, I think, help define her place in history.
Well, let's talk about that. And who do you think should be the next leader?
I think the next leader should be Matt Hancock. I do think we need a fresh start. I think we need somebody, obviously, getting Brexit through is the immediate task, but we've got to start thinking and caring about more than that, looking through to the 2020s. And I think it's important for the Conservative Party now, which is doing so badly among young voters in particular, to have somebody who can speak the language of those who grew up in the digital world, who evidently is competent and on top of issues of technology and how it applies to people's real lives. As Health Secretary, he's shown that having new advanced technology in the NHS actually improves healthcare. So you can apply this knowledge to a wide range of the key public services that we as Conservatives have got to show we've got answers to.
Listening to what you're saying, and also to his kind of pitch yesterday, it's clear that he's trying to position himself as a leader for the future. But realistically, is he ever going to win with the membership? I think we can have a quick look at a poll of members, which this was back in January, but if anything, I'd imagine that the no-deal support has grown. 57% saying their Brexit preference is no deal. I mean, are they really going to back someone who supported Remain in the referendum?
Well, I think one of the, if you like, the most dangerous pieces of analysis for the future of the Conservative Party is simply to keep people in aspic, saying what you did in June 2016 is all that matters. So
I can see that that's what you would like the situation to be, but in reality, that we are fighting on Brexit now, aren't we?
Well, we've got to get Brexit through, that's absolutely clear. But one of the problem with no deal, as we all know, is that you won't get that through the House of Commons. So if you have people who are promising a no-deal Brexit, then the extreme likelihood is that various people will find ways of stopping it going to the House of Commons, and therefore you will have to go to a general election. And I think the country certainly doesn't want that.
Would you lose
the Conservative Party, well, I think, put it this way, there has to be the possibility that we would see Jeremy Corbyn in Downing Street, and clearly no Conservative wants that. So we have to approach the Brexit conundrum in an intelligent way.
You've written today in a piece in the Sunday Times, the future survival of the Conservative Party is at risk. A polarising leader would be the final straw. The future survival is at risk. Is that what you think?
I feel that very, very strongly. You've seen the figures now that the average age at which people are more likely to vote Conservative than not has gone up to 51. You know, we talk about young voters. We're talking about anyone under the age of 50 here. So it's absolutely key. It's one of the reasons I'm supporting Matt Hancock, that I think the combination of the policy ideas he has and his approach and style to politics can actually expand the Conservative vote in a way that is of supreme importance to the future of the party.
The end half of that quote, a polarising leader would be the final straw. Who could you be talking about?
Well, I'll be talking about any of the candidates who go down that route. We are at the start.
So anyone who is talking about leaving with no deal at the end of October, is that what you define?
I define as polarising somebody who says that some Conservatives are less good than other Conservatives. One of the other things I say in my article in the Sunday Times is that the Conservative Party is at its best, and the Conservative Party I joined many years ago was a party where Dan Hannan and Dominic Grieve can feel equally at home, because actually we agree on lots of things. We don't agree between ourselves on Brexit. That's why we've got to get out of the European Union. We've got to respect the referendum. It would be much better to do that smoothly with the deal, and then get on to the many other things that people really care about in their daily lives.
OK, I'll stop sort of skirting around it. Are you talking about Boris Johnson?
No, I'm not talking about Boris Johnson. I think it's very, very important that, particularly at the phase where we've got many candidates in this election, that we set out the principles.
Would he be a good Prime Minister?
I think many of the people who are running would be good Prime Ministers. There's actually there's a wide field, but also a good field. And I think the best of that field is Matt Hancock. And one of the rules I'm going to operate through this campaign is that I'm not going to diss colleagues. Ronald Reagan had this famous rule that you should never be rude about another Republican in public, and I'm going to apply that to Conservatives as well.